Lots of people in the United States today, well, to be more honest, lots of people across the planet today are a little bit leery of how fast technology and social media have basically captured every part of our lives. And their biggest concern is the fact that their privacy rights are being violated on a near constant basis. Well, as it turns out, Apple might be violating our rights to privacy a little bit more than even we had thought. And joining me now to talk about what's happening is Scott Hardy with Top Class Actions. And Scott, everybody with an iPhone right now has Siri on it. You know, you can ask her a question, you have the wake word or the wake button. You ask her a helpful question, sometimes she can answer it. But according to a new lawsuit, she is actually recording people even without them waking up this process. And that's just a new level of creepy that I didn't think we were going to hit with these tech companies.
Right. You know, we were expecting to kind of see this because everybody has those stories of they were just talking with their friend about backpacking to China, and then all of a sudden they see ads about backpacking to China on their phone. So we know our phones are listening doing some things, but this is one of the first whistleblower lawsuits where contractors for Apple actually came forward and said, yeah, I sit there, I get paid to listen to Siri, and the premise is that Apple is paying these folks to see how well Siri is working, how well it's actually identifying, when you try to wake Siri up and that kind of thing. But these contractors who are listening to you when you're on your iPhone have heard very intimate moments, along with drug deals that took place and other things that have nothing to do with us going, hey Siri, and trying to get things done. It's a very interesting class action because we know that our phones are listening, but as the discovery goes through with this class action, we'll be very curious to see exactly how much she is listening to us and what is she capturing and recording and how bad is it from a privacy perspective.
You know, it's one thing when people understand that, yes, if I say, hey Siri, or if I call out for Alexa or say, hey Google, we know those devices because they clearly tell us that when you do that, whatever you say is recorded. In fact, a lot of times you can actually go back and listen to the recording that it made of you if you need to do so. But what we don't want is for these devices to be listening on their own. We have essentially, as a culture here in the United States, because of all these wonderful technological advancements, we have essentially bugged our own homes. You know, with the cameras that we're putting out there on top of the floodlights, the doorbell cameras now, Alexas and Google devices and Siri devices, we have bugged our own homes, and a lot of us didn't even realize that we were doing this.
Right. I mean, like a lot of people, I've got Alexas all over the house, and now I've got my cameras all over the house, or actually inside the house and outside of the house. So we're watching everything, and then you have folks like Google who are putting it all under one banner. Now, Amazon, of course, owns Ring. Well, you've got your Ring doorbells, you've got your indoor cameras, your outdoor cameras. Like you said, you've got your cameras that are going under floodlights, and all of that can tie into Alexa, so you can find out what's going on. Google is rolling out everything, all of its Nest cameras, under the Google umbrella. And so you'll just be able to say, hey, Google, and talk to one of your cameras that's out on the patio if you want. And so we're having all this consolidation, but all of this consolidation also means all of this data is going to one company. And what are they doing with it? In this case, Apple. We've got all of our phones are recording this data. What is Apple doing with it? And are they using this data properly? And in this case, there's, the class action alleges that they're breaking California law by having these recordings without being prompted. So we're going to have all these companies have to learn and adapt to these privacy laws, and new privacy laws continue to roll out as we continue to give away our own rights by buying all of these devices that are on and listening and watching all the time.
Right, and the disappointing part of it too is that these devices are very, very helpful. The cameras provide this wonderful service for us. Instead of having to get a very expensive security system, then you have to pay the monthly fee and all of that. You can buy these cameras that are a lot cheaper and they stay connected, and you could check it from your phone if you go out of town or get a notification in the middle of the day that the mailman walked up to your house. They're very helpful and they can help keep you safe. All we're asking as consumers with either that or our Alexas or Google Home devices is, if I'm not talking to you, could you please not record me? Because I never signed up for that and likely would have reconsidered your product if I would have known this would have happened. And I think that's going to be a major point brought up in these lawsuits. And I also predict it's probably going to extend far beyond Apple in the very near future too.
Absolutely. Apple's definitely not going to be the only one that's getting nabbed in these class actions. We're going to see Google hit on it. We're going to see Amazon hit on it. All of those folks that have these devices that are constantly listening, expect to see more.
Absolutely. And for more information about this particular issue, follow the link in the description of this video. Head on over to Top Class Actions. And of course, if you have not already, please do sign up for their weekly newsletter. Scott Hardy, Top Class Actions, always a pleasure talking to you.
Great talking to you too, Farron. Thank you.
The Monsanto Corporation continues to sell an herbicide called Roundup. You should know that recent studies have linked this commercial herbicide to a significant increase in non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. A diagnosis of this type of cancer can be devastating to you and your family, while Monsanto continues to profit from these sales. If you or a loved one were exposed to Roundup at work or at home and then developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, you might be entitled to financial compensation, and you have a right to take action now.